Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hugo, and this week we're going to talk about energy. So we're going to have a look into 5 stocks that are all about energy, quite similar but with different dividend yields. So you're going to do some market analysis on the SP500, on the Bitcoin, and on my portfolio. And we're going to have a look as well what actions we took this week and the past week. So stay around. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 6.2% of my viewers are subscribers, so don't forget to smash that button. So let's get back to the video. So you're going to start the week with from the lowest to the highest dividend yield, and this week we're going to start with Valero Energy Corp with the ticker VLO. They have a dividend yield of 5.80%, and they pay quarterly February, May, August, and November. They are undervalued in 48.5%, and the ex-dividend date is on the 4th of August. And the financial health is 2Gs. So we have more assets than liabilities, and we have around the difference between almost $1 billion of assets to liabilities. This is a good stock. They have a market sentiment of a buy, and they went down quite a lot. So all energy sector went down quite a lot. The XLE, which is an ETF as well, went down around 10% during this month. And this was actually quite affecting my portfolio because my portfolio is constituted by 16% of energy sector, and for this reason was quite affected. During this week we're not going to have any other stocks beside energy, so all of them are in energy, oil, gas transport, and transformation. And this stock in particular, the VLO, has an earning forecast around 34% per year, which is good and has a good increase. So not only they have undervalued in 48%, but also they are forecast to grow in around 38%. The ticker ET Energy Transfer Equity is one of the stocks that I have on my portfolio, and they have a dividend yield of 6.12%. They pay quarterly February, May, August, and November, and they are undervalued in 61.1%. This is one of the stocks with the highest undervalued that we have for this week, and the ex-dividend date is on August 5th. So we still have plenty of time to buy this one. Regarding the financial health, we have a slightest difference between liabilities and assets, but it's still G, so it's still good in terms of health. The market sentiment is still a buy, and they went down quite a lot in the past week, with around almost 7%, which I was willing to do some averaging, but having in consideration that this stock is almost composed of 5% of my portfolio, I didn't intend to invest more. Actually, I'm intending to decrease and to invest in others, like the ticker PBA, Pembina, which I spoke last week. You can check that video where they pay monthly and they have almost the same dividend yields. So in terms of compound interest, the other one is much better than this one. But there are more stocks this week that can be more interesting than actually PBA. So the earnings grow around 88% in the past year, and now they are forecast to decline in around 15%. So in the next 3 years, we're going to have a decline in around 15%, and this is one of the reasons as well that I want to sell some of these stocks. ETRN Midstream Corp with the ticker ETRN, they have a dividend yield of 7.26%. This is one of the highest dividend yields that we have for this week. They pay quarterly February, May, August, and November, and they are undervalued in 59.2%. They are quite good. The only thing here, it's the financial health, which is the B. So they have more liabilities than assets. It's around $1 billion, half a billion, I think. And the ex-dividend date is on the 3rd of August. I don't know if you're going to have time to buy this because you're not going to have the 2 days that is necessary for it to purchase this stock. In terms of the market sentiment, we still have a buy, and they went quite down as well as any other energy stock that we have for this week. The only thing here comparing with ET is they are almost the same undervalued in around 60%, but ETRN is going to have a forecast growth over around 28%, which comparing with ET, it's minus 15%. So this is much better than the ET at the moment. The ticker Sonoco LP, they have a dividend yield of 8.67%. They pay quarterly February, May, August, and November, and they are undervalued in 38.6%. The ex-dividend date is going to be on the 5th of August, so we still have plenty of time, and the financial health is a G. So they have more assets than liabilities in around also almost $500,000. It's quite similar to the other one that I spoke before. And in terms of the market sentiment, it's still a hold. They increase comparing to the other ones. They increase quite a lot, which the other ones went down. But we still have margin here. We are still undervalued 38%. So it's still good to buy. Bear in mind, this is one of the stocks that have increased in terms of earnings a lot in the past years. And for that reason, the earnings are forecast to decline in the next 3 years with around 9.9%. But I still think it's a good stock to have in our portfolio because it pays 8.67% and the financial health is good and the growth is not good, but it's better than ET. The last but not the least, we have the ticker MPLX or MPLX-LP, which is the same, with the ex-dividend date on the 5th of August and the dividend yield with 9.56%. This is the stock that we have with a higher dividend yield for this week, and they pay quarterly, February, May, August, and November, the same as the other ones, and it's the highest that we have comparing with any other stock that we have for this week. They are undervalued in around 28.2%. They have a good financial health. It's not the greatest, but it's good. Have more assets than liabilities, and we have a market sentiment of a buy. They went down a lot in the past months, as any other, except the previous one that we already saw. But still, it's a good. I think it's a really good, and I'm thinking in changing stocks from ET to this one because they pay almost in the same time. And they also have a higher dividend yield in around 4% more than actually ET, which comparing after tax, this is quite a lot because the other one is going to be around the 4.5-ish, and it's going to be around the 7-ish dividend yields after the 30% of tax that we need to pay for the US government. And the other thing is the earnings are only to decline in around 5% comparing to ET, which is 15%. So we don't going to have too much of a growth, but it's only be 5%, which is quite good. The only thing here it's undervalued in 28%. So in terms of growth, we're not going to see too much of a growth, but comparing with ET, that could be a margin there because the stock can increase a lot because it's around 60%, but I don't know, having in consideration the dividend yield of this has and the compound interest that we can get from here, it's much higher than ET. So I think this is actually a good choice, and I think this is going to be one of my next moves. Other stocks for this week on the 5th of August, we're going to have Intel with a dividend yield of 2.59% and Unilever with a dividend yield of 3.6%. Bear in mind, this is Unilever UK stock, so that's why the 3.6% that doesn't suffer any type of tax, with which the Intel is going to suffer. So actually, it's not going to be 2.59%; it's going to be 1.45, something like that. So now let's do some market analysis and have a look into the SP500 and the Bitcoin. So looking to the SP500, we're going to have a positive week, at least at the beginning of the week. Let's say the first Monday, Tuesday may be positive, although we have here two green candles, and probably the next one is going to be a sell. Monday probably actually is not going to be the best day, but although we're still going to have here a shift on the MACD, as you can see here, we're going to have a shift for some bull markets. So I do think that we're going to have the same example as we had here in the past month. So you're going to test again the support around the 4,450, around that value, and probably we're going to come back again unless something change in the markets. One more thing that we need to have here in consideration, it's the volume that is being traded. We're not getting too much of a volume, and when this happens, usually the market has some tendency to go a little bit down, and probably we're going to see this happen all over again. One more thing that I've traced here, which was on the MACD, was actually if we reach this point, I'm thinking in buy the SQQ, which is basically a short over the Nasdaq, which is usually the ETF that is associated with the Nasdaq is the QQQ, but the SQQ is the short for the Nasdaq per se. So I'm thinking if we reach this point, this could be a good chance to get some money on the way down. If we're going to reach this point now, I don't know. but I think at least we're going to do another test at the 4,500, and then we may reach again the 4,360. So let's see what's going to happen this week. I do think we're going to repeat the same thing that we happened here. If we're going to have some big correction in the market, we don't know. We still have Amazon with a decrease of 7% in the past week. This is actually a good point to buy now Amazon again, and we don't know if it is going to actually happen for the big techs as well. Regarding the Bitcoin, we get off of the support of the 30k. We're reaching now to the support at the 43k that we had in the past months, and we are now testing the 32k again. If we're going to have some tendency to grow, I think so, unless if the market has a shift and the Bitcoin has a shift as well. But this all has some tendency, and I think we're going to see some growth in the next upcoming week. So as the MACD can tell here, we still are in the bullish markets, and therefore we're going to have a continued growth. Probably we're going on the way to the 47k, but there's going to be some tests over here of the 42. So we need first to have some consolidation at the 45, 33k, and then we can go for the 50k or 47k, which is going to be the next support line. So once again, if you want to copy all my trades, don't forget to look for my nickname Knights in the eToro, and you can copy all my open trades, which I recommend to open with at least $1,000, which you can see your simulation at the end of this video. So don't forget to stay until the end to see how much you can win per month, and how you can copy the open trades. So the portfolio performance for this week, we have a market increase of around 0.8%, and the portfolio around 2.46%. Although the graphs don't match what we have on eToro, I already opened a ticket because I think there's some calculation not being done correctly. In terms of the performance and profit loss since inception, we have an increase of around 1% since last week, from 11 to 35%, and in the past 12 months we have a return of around 30%. The top 5 stocks for this week, we had Pembina, which was a stock that I bought during this week, with an increase of around 5.99%. We have BP, British Petroleum, which is a UK stock, at the increase of around 4.10%, and we have Chevron with an increase with around 3.8%, and Pfizer with an increase of 3.18%. The energy sector, the XLE, had an increase of around 3.4%, although we had this increase in the energy sector, but bear in mind that we had a decrease of around almost 14% in the past months, so this is not quite of a big increase, having in consideration the decrease that we had in the past month. In terms of payments, we have a ULVR.L, Realm, Main, and AMZA, which was paid during this week. We had new acquisitions, which is PBA, which is a stock that I've spoke in the past week, which you can check the video below on the description. Open orders, I still have 9988 HK, which is Alibaba. I still have this open order because they went down around 15% in the past month, and I want to do some averaging, and then I want to sell completely as soon as they become profitable, and get rid of it, because I want to get away from the Chinese stocks for a while until they establish some agreements as well with the US government, because what's going on is those stocks, Alibaba, Tencent, etc., can get out of the US market, and this is quite important and can affect those stocks quite a lot. So that's why I'm trying to get rid of them. Let's see what's going to happen, and if you're going to have time to do that. Although if you want to invest in Chinese stocks, I recommend always to use the Chinese exchange, never use the US stock exchange, because you may face an issue in the future by not having those stocks available anymore in the US market. So that's why if you want to buy it on Chinese, like Hong Kong, which I have it in my case, because eToro allows to do that. In terms of closing orders, we did close some stocks, not much, around 2 or 3 stocks in each one of them. Like Facebook, we closed with a profit with around 50%, and AT Energy Transfer we closed with around 61%. This was due to the fact I didn't have any money in balance, and they reached the points that they were really high, and I think that was the chance to sell them and to get some cash in. In terms of averaging, I did the SDIF, which is one of the ETFs, MSHI, which was also one of the ETFs which went down around 12%, minus 12%, INTL, which went down around 7.5%, and RELM, which went down around 10% as well. So all those that went around minus than 5 or 10, I did some average, and that money come from the close orders that I've got from Facebook and Energy Transfer. The top payers are still AMZ, and the top dividend yield is still QILD with 11.88%, which they went down from 11.9 to 11.8. My portfolio is still undervalued in around 45.6%, so we did have increase of undervalued here of around 1% since last week, and the future growth we had an increase here from 4% to 6.8%, which is quite good. So we have a lot of margin here to grow, but mainly this is caused by the fact that we have received some reports of earnings during this week and the past week. So they had to recalculate, and they had increase of from 4 to 6%. The stock with the highest volatility is still MAN, and the lowest volatility is still Unilever. So now let's look into the spreadsheet and let's see what actions that we took this week. So if you are seeing this spreadsheet for the first time, don't forget to look into the description, and you can have a link and you can simulate by putting here the amount of value that you want to invest. It can be $1,000, which is the minimum that I recommend, or you can simply put here 5,000, for example, and you can see how much you can win per month, and of course the values here per year as well. The payments that we got this week was QILD, RELM, and AMZA, and also MAN that we have here. This is the new acquisition, PBA, and here has the value, how much we're going to receive per month, because they pay monthly, they don't pay quarterly, and here is how much we are invested in terms of the overall portfolio, which you need to update with your current values. As soon as you update those values with the values that you have on your portfolio, this automatically is going to calculate the correct value, because I'm already taking here in consideration how much tax you're going to pay. As you can see here, ET has a dividend yield of 6.13% and PBI dividend yield of 6.3%, but the difference here is this one pays quarterly and this one pays monthly, meaning the compound interests on PBI is going to be much higher than actually ET. So that's why I went to this one. Of course, bear in mind that I've mentioned a few stocks during this week that they are really good stock, and I'm thinking to change ET for one of those that has a higher dividend yields. At the end, it's going to be much higher than actually PBI. So this is something that I'm still having consideration and doing some checks regarding the percentage of growth for one and the other one, and what is I need to invest a little bit more in those companies, and to see what's going to be the future, to make sure this what I'm going to do is actually a good option. And once again, I hope you enjoyed these tips. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like, and if you want to share this video, go ahead. Please leave a comment, contact with me with Discord, and we can have some chat and discuss more about your portfolio if you want. So once again, thank you, cheers, and see you next week.